Okay, at this point, I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Talmadge City School District Board of Education. At this time, please stand for the pledge. It's in the back. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Jeff, please call the roll.
Mr. Fairhurst. Here. Mr. Taiwan.
Here.
Mrs. Sipa. Ms. Justice Carter. Mr. Keller.
Here. Okay, at this time I'd like to welcome visitors. The way this meeting works, this is our legal meeting that we go through a lot of program stuff, but at the end there'll be an opportunity for visitors to address the board, and I'll go over what that looks like when we get to that. Okay, item 1.5, it's recommended that the Board of Education approve the minutes of the Board of Education meeting of June 16th, 2021. Motion by Mark, seconded by Chris. Any additions, deletions, corrections, or anything you guys saw? I didn't see anything either. Jeff, please call the roll.
Mr. Fairhurst. Aye. Mr. Taiwan. Aye. Mr. Keller.
Aye. Section 2, recommendations of the Board of Education. There are none at this time. Section 3, recommendations of the Treasurer. There are two, and I will read them. Item 3.1, it's recommended that the Board of Education, well, hold on a second.
Hi.
Hey, lady, how are we doing?
Sorry.
So Ms. Sipp has joined us. We rocketed right out of the gate, so
I see that.
at 6. Item 3.1, it's recommended that the Board of Education adopt the financial reports for the month of June 2021 attached.
So moved.
Motion by Chris, seconded by Chris. Say that. Let me hold on a second. Any comments, Jeff, or anything about that?
You might see a couple
Got
of in the graphs and the charts. There are some year-end adjustments that we made, and that is due to the COVID, the ESSER money that we received. I made some adjustments, mostly in the transportation, charging the transportation costs to the COVID dollars and out of the general fund. So there was nearly $1 million of adjustments in June. So if you see some irregularities in the lines, specifically in the line charts, that's why. And we still have about $2.6 million of COVID monies yet to use in some fashion over the next 2 years.
Good. All right, thanks, Jeff. And please call the roll.
Mrs. Sipa.
Aye.
Mr. Taiwan. Aye. Mr. Fairhurst. Aye. Mr. Keller.
Aye. And item 3.2, we'll wait until after executive session to address. It has to do with the sale of Dunbar Schools and the recently completed auction. Go ahead.
The other thing I want to mention before we move on is, as you know, the state budget was adopted. And part of that state budget, the House had incorporated the Fair School Funding Plan, the Cupp-Patterson, into the budget, which ultimately made it through to final version. So that's a good thing. We still have yet to sort out, the state hasn't rolled out any numbers for districts. We have some estimates. It's not a huge increase for us, but it's there. It's solid for us. The big thing that I wanted to mention, which was part of the budget bill, is open enrollment and community school students will now be direct funded to their place of attendance instead of their residence. So as before, we would count them at the top of in our ADM count, and then the calculation for the state share, we would only get 42%, and then the full amount was taken away from us in the bottom, so we actually lost money for every student that left us, either through open enrollment or community schools. Them being now direct funded to their place of attendance is going to make a big difference. And how that incorporates into the overall funding, those kinds of things I think the state is working on right now. So I have more information on that later, but I wanted to bring the board up to date as to what actually made it through to the final version of the budget bill.
That's great news.
It is, yeah, it not only, I think, will save us dollars, but the administration of all of that and the challenges that we faced, because we would have deductions for a student that really wasn't ours. You know, so you always had to have that, you had to have eyes on all of that to make sure that we weren't being charged for a student that was a resident somewhere else. So it'll eliminate a lot of that administration and red tape, so.
What's an average number of students per year that might affect?
We had 110 open enrollment and 58 community school.
Okay.
So about 170 altogether.
Big number.
Yeah. So again, I will have more information as I learn more and as it gets rolled out. But it's a good thing that the Cupp-Patterson bill made it through. Even though it's not a huge increase for us, it's a better, more solid method of calculation for funding. So that's a good thing.
They finally heard you after all these years.
I feel like this is like one of the first improvements we've,
Well, you know, it was.
Let's not be cynical. All right, let's not be cynical. But that was a big deal. Like, I remember you showing us the math on that, so that's great. And then, as I mentioned, we called the roll on that, so we'll address 3.2 after executive. So Section 4, Item 4.1 is recommended that the Board of Education approve the motion to rescind policy EBEA, which is a part of that board policy series sorting that Jennifer and I did a handful of years back, which is entitled Use of Face Masks. Motion by Chris.
Second.
Seconded by Mark. Sorry.
So So the detail on this is that last year during the COVID crisis, so this was originally passed in July of 2020, the board was required to create and pass a face mask policy mandating face mask for all students and staff. So that this policy was a result of that. That entire requirement has sunsetted now, so therefore this policy is obsolete. Does not mean that we don't have the ability to implement a face mask policy again. It just kind of takes care of the one that was created during the COVID crisis.
Got it. Jeff, please call the roll.
Mr. Taiwan.
Aye.
Mr. Ferris.
Aye.
Mrs. Sipa.
Aye.
Ms. Justice Carter.
Aye.
Mr. Keller.
Aye. Item 4.2, it's recommended that the Board of Education approve 10 per diem days for Bill Johnson and Courtney Davis for the 2021-2022 school year.
So moved.
Motion by Jennifer, seconded by Chris.
Yeah, what this enabled is our new administrators to get off to a good start in their new positions. So we'll talk about Bill here in a minute, but Courtney and Bill have already been hard at work this summer preparing for the new school year.
Gotcha. Any questions?
No, good.
Jeff, please call the roll.
Ms. Justice Carter.
Aye.
Mrs. Sipa.
Aye.
Mr. Ferris.
Aye.
Mr. Taiwan.
Aye.
Mr. Keller.
Aye. Okay, Section 5, personnel items, motion to take items 5.1 through 5.8 by consent. Motion by Chris, seconded by Chris. And then, Steve, if there's
Yeah, I'd like
something
to-
you want to call out, I can read them out, or you can.
Yeah, I definitely want to call
All
out,
right.
we'll start with 5.1. So I believe, the athletic director. And I know there's some folks here tonight. Thank you for coming out that were part of the interview process. So the athletic director role is a very important role here in Talmadge to protect the outstanding tradition of athletics that we have. So when Mr. Mosier decided to return to teaching, we right away moved to try to find the best person to fill this role for Talmadge. And we cast a wide net. So I give a lot of credit to Ms. Monachino, who aggressively went out and found some outstanding candidates really across Northeast Ohio. And after all was said and done, after an administrative step, we put these folks through a gauntlet, quite frankly. Administrative step, they spent some time with our coaches and time with our boosters and our Little League programs. And we cast a wide net, but we ended up picking somebody right here from inside this building. And I am just really excited for Billy and excited for the student athletes of Talmadge City Schools to recommend tonight that Bill Johnson become our new athletic director. So, Bill, I don't know if you have anything you'd like to say to the board before?
I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. Over the last 7 years, 8 years that I've worked here and been a part of this community, I just feel like it's become my home, and I'm just excited to have the opportunity to work with the community and the staff and the students and the athletes that are a part of this, as well as all the community that helped me get this position. I've started, like you said, I've kind of started, but I know there's so much more to go, and I'm excited to keep working with everybody. So thank you very much.
Great. I don't know if Becky, Tara, or Tom, a little out of, if there anything you want to add about the process that you went through. And again, we thank you for your participation in that.
We're thankful that we were allowed to, voice our opinion. And it was an interesting process. It's an opportunity that normally I wouldn't have had. So I thank you for, extending that team and saying, hey, we, want some perspective.
Great. Great. Well, thank you.
Community input was awesome. I think it was a great move. And I'm sure we were presented with an awesome group of candidates too. So,
Yeah.
made the decision on the charter.
So as we welcome Billy into a new role, we also have to say goodbye to some folks tonight as well. We have a couple resignations I want to pull out. One is Ariana Del Rey. Ariana's a veteran fourth grade teacher for us, has done a great job and, has decided to leave teaching, leave the profession. We certainly wish her the best, and Shelley's already off and running, trying to fill that role. And then also we're losing from the elementary school Jamie Lynn Hain, who was our assistant principal for, she was the assistant principal before we moved into the new elementary and helped us with that difficult transition into the new elementary school. Jamie Lynn got an awesome opportunity, professional opportunity, to become a new principal, step up from an assistant role to a principal role at the Brunswick School District. So Brunswick's getting a great new principal, and we're certainly excited for Jamie Lynn, and again, off and running with trying to fill that role. Those are the two I wanted to pull out. Shelley, is there any other ones you'd want to discuss? Okay. That's it tonight, folks.
Awesome. That's great. Thanks, Steve, and welcome, Billy. Coach Johnson, as my daughter used to call you. We're excited to have you, and it's an awesome opportunity, and I love the fact that it was a competitive process, and thanks, Tom, for pointing that out, and that there was great candidates. But then to have somebody from within actually the building is awesome, because there's a lot of new facilities, and like, hey, where's the light switch for this stuff? And because that's part of your future, by the way, just in case you didn't know. And there's a little bit of work left to be done on our facilities, and we're leaning into that. But and I think you understand too the. When we often talk about what are our, those are classrooms and what we could sometimes call the outdoor classrooms, even though oftentimes sports are indoors as well, and that it's one of the most important. It's a set of the most important classrooms that we have here for our kids. So it's you got an important role and good stuff. So glad to have you, Jeff. Please call the roll.
Mr. Taiwan.
Hi.
Mr. Sippin.
Aye.
Mr. Fair.
Aye.
Ms. Justice Carter.
Aye.
Mr. Keller.
Hi.
So if we could, I know it's a beautiful evening out there, folks, and I know this is what you came for, to see Bill get hired, so you're certainly welcome to leave. We wouldn't be offended.
Yeah, folks can come and go. Right, exactly, for sure. So at this time, Section 6, remarks of the superintendent.
Great, thanks. So I have some talking points up here on the screen behind you. Just a lot going on in the district, as really the theme for July is preparation, getting ready for the new school year. So the next time we have a regular board meeting, we'll have already started the new school year. Our kids will be back, our buses will be running, teachers in their classrooms. So it's remarkable how quickly summer flies by, and we've been very busy getting ready for this exciting new school year. So kind of some key things And with the board's permission, I know historically it's kind of the superintendent report. I think I'm going to rename this in the future as more of a district report. I'm going to talk about some of these items, but my colleagues and the team behind me are also going to chime in on some key things as well. But I'll start with the COVID-19 Safe Return Plan. So this was posted to our website back on June 21st. It was a requirement of the American Rescue Plan, which is some of the funding that we're getting to help us address and handle COVID. So, essentially, kind of the highlights from the plan is really around a lot of the protocols that we had in place from last year will continue. Those include some of the cleaning, spacing kids out, trying to keep them 3 feet apart, not shooting for 6 feet. We won't get there, but we believe we can be 3 feet apart in most of our classrooms. Some of the hand washing protocols, some of the basic inside the building protocols. Now, what board members you will see, and you're already seeing it happen in the newspapers and everywhere else, is around masks in schools. Right now, Talmadge remains mask optional for schools for the upcoming school year. And without a mandate from the governor or a significant spike in Summit County, I believe that's where we will remain. Just to give you kind of perspective, there was 14 cases in Summit County yesterday, 14 new cases out of 540,000 residents. So the incident rate in Summit County is very low right now. And as I work with Summit County Public Health and all of our neighboring districts, so with the exception of the Akron Public Schools and maybe Cuyahoga Falls Public Schools, every other one of our Summit County colleagues is also going to be mask optional to start the school year. So that's where we are.
Teachers know
Not required.
unless they want.
Optional, yes, to be their choice. Okay? So more information about the COVID response plan, but the mask is something, unfortunately, is a polarizing issue. You'll see a lot of press continue. It's revving up, and we're paying attention to it and having a lot of conversation. We want to do the right thing by our kids, our students, our staff, and our families. And right now, I believe the right thing is having mask optional for our families. So that's the COVID-19 return plan. Any questions on that or concerns from the board? All right, so let's talk about summer projects. It's typical for us this time of year. Our staff has been very, very busy. So I know when we reshuffled and reorganized the central office, one of my concerns, and I know one of the concerns the board was, we were essentially eliminating or changing my job around, and facilities was a big part of my job. And what I will report to the board is that this summer, more than any, has just shown how outstanding our maintenance, custodial, ground staff really are, because they just take care of business and have done an outstanding job, keeping our facilities and preparing our facilities for the new school year. So big projects, I know there isn't, a lot of folks don't go down by David Bacon often, but we did completely repave that parking lot. That was a partnership. So Head Start, the federal Head Start program, our preschool that's housed in that building, helped pay for half of that lot. The lot was in horrible condition, so it's great to be able to do that for the families using that preschool program. Technology here at Talmadge High School. So what we're using today is going to be obsolete soon. If you remember from previous meetings, Kurt's been talking about the trouble getting the technology here into the building with the new Clever Touch screen. So it'll be a big flat screen television, very exact same as what we're using now at Talmadge Middle School and Talmadge Elementary School. Those will arrive August 16th, which is the first day of school, so unfortunately we won't have them for the first day of school here, but the team that's installing them will be able to do them on the evenings, and we'll be able to get them to our kids here in the building pretty quickly here at the beginning of the semester. In the meantime, the projector systems will still be in service for our teachers and staff. lots of painting in the district, lots of floor work in the district, and Mr. Hedrick's still here. The Little League field, we completed a partnership with Talmadge Little League to complete the new Little League field over on the elementary school campus. So kind of replaces, well, hopefully Dunbar continue to use, but so that's a nice partnership, and thanks to the Little League for helping to finance that improvement. So it's been a busy summer. I feel very ready. We will be ready for school when it starts. Hard to believe, August 11th, new teachers show up. August 12th is convocation, so have that on your calendar board for that morning. And then August 16th is first day of students. So with that, I'll turn it over to Ms. Monachino.
Okay, so the first of the new hires, so far this summer, we've hired 9 new people to join our Talmadge family. We hired 2 at the high school. Amy Beth Allman is going to be our ELA teacher, and Mariah Halassa is our intervention specialist, and both of them are Talmadge grads, so we're excited about that. At TMS, we hired a new paraprofessional, Tracy McCoy. At TES, which had, of course, the biggest turnover, we've had Adam Booth, of course, as our principal, Nicole Angelo as an intervention specialist, Jessica Gerlin as an intervention specialist, Katie Schoaf as an intervention specialist, and Brittany Tasato as a 3rd grade teacher. And for the 6th compact, as you met last time, Josh Stewart will be taking Jim Barbera's place for that. We still have interviews that we are completing right now in these next 2 to 3 weeks. We have an intervention specialist for TMS. We have an assistant principal for TES. We have a 3rd grade position for TES. And we have 3 tutors for both TES and TMS, and 2 paraprofessionals. I do believe one's for the high school and one's for the, both for the high school. And just to be honest, that one's going to be one of our hardest ones to fill, to get somebody to work with our most needed students on that. Okay.
And what that means for the board is likely we will need to have a special meeting to do some hiring. So, I mean, Shelley and the team are on track to get these hires done, and we have some good candidates, but to just go through and complete that process, have it done before school, we'll need a special meeting. So we'll let you know when that happens, okay?
Next, with busing, so we did subscription busing. So far, we had 1,236 kids sign up for busing, so we're excited about that. We're still pushing for that. We know Jen Kirk has been working very diligently getting our times. One of the promises that we made to the community was that we were going to have kids on the bus after 7 o'clock and as close to 30 minutes as possible, and she is working very hard to get that done. I think one of our first buses that's going to be picked up for middle school is going to be 7:11, I think is the time, which is a big change compared to the 6:20 that was picked up last year. So
yeah, we had a 6:25 bus last year.
So
6:25 for a 13-year-old kid versus 7:05. It's huge. So we're excited about that.
we're real excited. Our CTE students, though, still probably will have to be picked up before 7 o'clock just because of the transfers that they have to make going to the drop-off points and the shuttles and everything like that. But Jen is working really hard on that. She's working on routes, so hopefully by next Wednesday, the bus drivers are going to be able to bid on their routes, and we're working with Kurt and with Jen to see how we are going to get that information to our families. Hopefully, maybe we're seeing if we could do it like technology-wise and get it to their parent portal, so we don't have to post it anywhere. It's just going to be able to click on and say, this is where your bus is going to be. So we're hoping that's going to work, but it's technology, so we'll see how that goes. One of the things that we know that's going to be a problem is going to be the traffic that was in front of the elementary school and the middle school. If you remember from last year, it went all the way out on East Avenue, and just, we, as much as Courtney, when she was there, would tell the parents, please don't come till 3 o'clock. They start lining up at 2:30 and getting involved with the middle school buses, the middle school parents. So I know Jeff Mannion and Kim Hussing have been throwing around some ideas on how to help fix that. One of the things that we are going to push for is having the more kids ride the bus. And I'm working with Jen, and we have some things in place that we're hoping to make the bus ride a little bit more friendly and a little bit more enjoyable for the kids. So I'll keep you posted on what we're doing for that. So we're excited about that. But we are going to be, we know that the traffic is a problem, and we are going to be working on that. So that's...
Are they still going to sanitize the buses?
Yes. It's just like how Mr. Wood said with the protocols, that, those things are still going to stay in place. So, that's going to be something that Jen's working on for that. For nutrition services, again, for next year, food is going to, breakfast and lunch will be free again for all students. So we're excited about that. Unlike last year, there will be no meals served on weekends or holidays. So the government did stop that one, but all students will be getting breakfast and lunch. And I'm working with the nutrition services to try to make the lunches a little bit more exciting. Not that Mr. Wood didn't make them exciting, but...
I didn't. Yeah. Okay. I do much better job, I'm sure.
So,
There's two things you're going to make exciting.
I am. You know what I am? You know what I am? I'm going to make the student experience as best as I can for the kids, and food and travel are two of the greatest things in the world, okay? I want our kitchens to be where you guys come in and say, I'm going to have lunch in our kitchens. And our ladies are fabulous, and they're working very hard for it. Our summer lunch program is going strong. We had over 685 kids ages 1 to 18 sign up for lunches in the summer. And Maria McNulty is leading that charge, and she's doing a wonderful job. At any given week, she can serve anywhere from 300 to I think the most she said like 500 meals. A lot. It's a lot. And she's doing it. And our last one on that one will be right before school starts for that. And if people still want to sign up for both busing and for the summer program, the forms are on our website, so they can still sign up for that. For our registration, first I want to give kudos to Amanda Cardoni. Again, for her to be our first person that our new families see is amazing. Her patience is I mean, she worked with a family today, one of our EL families. She must have been with them for a good 45 minutes, walking every step through them, and she does it with a smile, and she does it friendly, and she's fabulous. So, when you get a chance to see her, please tell her what a great job she's doing, because I'm so glad she's the face of our first families. We did change over to final forms, as you probably know. I think it's going extremely well. I know athletics is going to be very thrilled with the final forms on that. We had a few families that called up and asked for help, and again, Amanda got right on the phone with them and walked them right through where to go for that. We have for new enrollment, as of right now, and mind you, our enrollment was down for 3 weeks, so Amanda, again, is just cranking these out. But so far, we have 131 kindergartners that have registered, and we still have a lot of time left for that. And for new enrollees, we have 22 through 1 through 12th grade.
And some of those are the Ripley Farm, right? The new
Yes.
neighborhood. There's some of those
Yes.
folks are advance enrolling their kids.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we had 2 today that came from there. From there, so it's exciting. So there's a lot of exciting things happening in Talmadge. So, any questions on any of those? Okay, thanks. Here you go.
Yes, so I just wrapped up my 3rd day on the job, so I just have one item to report. So summer extended learning, we took a look at student data at the end of the school year and obtained feedback from our teaching staff, and then surveyed those families, and we had a little over 40 students sign up for our summer extended learning. I think if we sent that survey out this week, we'd probably get a little bit of a different result. So we have a little over 40 students taking advantage of that. It starts on Monday and will run for 2 weeks, so it'll be a good jump start before the beginning of this new school year. So, and then next time you can expect a lengthier update from me, not as long as Shelley's, but
First time.
Oh, my goodness. Did you put her up today, Mr. Costello?
Learned that all by yourself.
Catch on quick.
That was fine. Efficient and exciting. Thank you, Courtney. Appreciate it. That's too good. Now, that's great, great work, all, and I like the format idea there, Steve, and like, as I'm thinking about how our agenda is structured, unless the treasurer, who I kind of lean on when I think about like the legality of this order of stuff, is when I think about informational reports and that. I mean, those kind of, like you kind of just did that, so you're free to think about how to better cover business, particularly earlier in the meeting, because then as visitors come, like a lot of times they don't like hanging out to the end, and that's all right. And I love the idea of like, when we all approve that student experience, the plan, right? And it's all centers on the student experience, and that's the theme that I'm hearing. I mean, we can joke about like food and travel, because that's a really funny way to think about. If food and travel is fun and exciting in the school district, the rest of the day is going to be that much better. And those are easy things to maybe that most school districts don't think about. So I think that's awesome. And that's just when things center on our students, it's hard to make mistakes. It really is, and that's awesome. Section 7, no old business. Section 8, no new business. And I don't know if there was additional informational reports that you all wanted to share. So at this point, Section 10, communications. This is where if anyone wants to address the board, we usually ask you to stand, say your name, where you're from, and we usually try and limit it to 3 minutes, and so we're not here until forever. So I don't know if there's anyone. We're all good? Okay, we'll close communications at this time. At this point, item 11.1, it's recommended the Board of Education approve going into executive session for the discussion of property. Motion by Jennifer, seconded by Mark. And I don't know if there's press or anyone wants to hang out. We're going to make a decision, I'm pretty confident, on the recent auction to ultimately the sale of the Dunbar School property. So if you want to hang around to hear what the details of that, otherwise there'll be a press release. It'll go out pretty quickly. So, Jeff, please call the roll.
Ms. Justice Carter.
Aye.
Mr. Fairhurst.
Aye.
Mr. Taiwan.
Aye.
Mrs. Sippin.
Aye.
Mr. Keller.
Aye. And so what that means too is like, are we moving or are we going?
We could go over to,
Is anyone going to hang around? You two are hanging around.
Okay.
All right.
yeah, you can hang around, we'll go to
we'll
householders'
go to
conference
yeah.
room, that'd be great.